Okay, today I'm here to interview my old school teacher, Mr. Siokos.
Kyle Swanson.
Yeah.
Cooley Hooper. My favorite student. I'm doing very well. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
What inspired you to become an actor?
Well, I'm just going to throw this out there, okay? Because there is a conspiracy theory. There's a lot of people who claim that I've never grown up, that I'm an adult child. Now, play is the work of children, and as a child, what do? You make believe, you pretend. Of course, that kind of behavior is frowned upon by a lot of the adult world, the rigid and the self-righteous. Unless, of course, you're an actor. So that, my young Padawan, is why I chose to become an actor.
When you started acting, that included plays in schools, when you got in the film business, and what was your first film?
I was actually in a few plays back in middle school and high school, and I really enjoyed being on stage. It was fun to be part of the storytelling process. But then I didn't really partake in any acting for about 10 years. I went to college, I played baseball, I studied to become a school teacher, and when my baseball career was over with, I decided to take a shot at acting. I got a chance, and I was involved in a few college films, and that's how the whole process started.
Alright. What was the first film you remember?
It was called University Heights, which was an interesting story because I was teaching at the time. And my buddy, who was a professional actor in Chicago, comes back into the Quad Cities. He calls me up one day and he says, "Hey, Siokos, there's a film crew that's having open auditions for this movie they're going to make out of Iowa City, and was wondering if you wanted to go and audition with me." I had no problem with that. I thought it'd be fun. Well, guess what part they were looking for? A school teacher. And I was a school teacher. So I put that down on the application and I read the part, and they thought that I was a good fit. They offered me the main part of that movie. Again, that was called University Heights. And the people who were in charge, the director, the writer, the producer, Brian Woods and Scott Beck, they were the two that wrote the story A Quiet Place. Have you heard of that movie?
Yeah.
Yes, they wrote that story. So they're in Hollywood now doing their thing.
Yeah, I remember seeing it in the paper a few years ago.
Yes, that was their first movie, and I was lucky enough to have a part in it. And so that kind of snowballed. Once I was in that movie, there were other college film projects that needed actors, and a lot of the time back then we would work for free. We wouldn't get paid. But again, as you know, acting's fun. You do it for the love, not for the money.
You being a huge Star Wars fan, what is your favorite Star Wars film and why? If it is The Empire Strikes Back, aka the best film in the series, along with Return of the Jedi, what else do you love in that film besides the most popular line, "I'm your father"?
It's not The Empire Strikes Back. It's a close second. My favorite Star Wars movie is A New Hope, the original, from 1977. Now, I was 5 years old when that came out, and my dad took me to see it 7 times in the theater, and I fell in love with it. To this day, I think it's the greatest movie ever made. The Empire Strikes Back is a close second. Have you ever heard of the rule of the Sith? There can be only 2. Master and an apprentice. I kind of had the same theory about Star Wars movies. Now, you might not like this, but in my opinion, there's only 2. There's only 2 Star Wars movies. A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. Everything that's happened since Empire Strikes Back is a horrible nightmare that Han Solo is having in Carbonite.
What about Return of the Jedi?
I wasn't even a fan of Return of the Jedi. And here's why. The Ewoks, these little fuzzy teddy bears, beating the evil Galactic Empire. Jabba's palace, so it was very Muppet showy, if you will. And Han Solo, who is my favorite character, he seemed that he lost his coolness when he was unfrozen from Carbonite. Pun intended. But when he was in Return of the Jedi, he seemed like he was kind of a blundering idiot. He was emasculated. He was the butt of a lot of jokes. In the first 2 movies, he was John Wayne. He was the gunslinger, and everybody wanted to follow his lead. Return of the Jedi kind of lost that. Now, Return of the Jedi was still an enjoyable movie. It just wasn't in the same ballpark as the first 2.
What is your top 5 favorite non-Star Wars films?
Top 5 non-Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
That's easy. Raiders of the Lost Ark, Aliens, Field of Dreams,
Never heard that one.
The Goonies, and the movie that gave you your nickname,
Oh, Jaws.
Jaws.
Oh, my nickname's not Jaws.
Yes, but you forget about the greatest monologue in Hollywood history, Quint's tale of the USS Indianapolis. And if you remember, he says, Mr. Hooper.
Noon the fifth day, Mr. Hooper, Lockheed Ventura. As soon as he swung in low and he saw us two, a young pilot lumped, younger than Mr. Hooper anyway.
And you, my friend, have always reminded me of a young Richard Dreyfuss.
Any movie idols, and that includes actors and directors that you consider your influences?
Of course, I think John Wayne and Harrison Ford. These guys were the epitome of the hero, of the guy that, every man wanted to be and every girl wanted to be with. I think that Harrison Ford is our generation's John Wayne.
What do you think of George Lucas nowadays? Like with him screwing up the original Star Wars trilogy by adding in new but yet god-awful CGI and causing more harm to the franchise with Episode 1 and 2, and the same with the Indiana Jones series as he wrote the ever-so-terrible Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
There's an old saying that says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. When you have the #1 grossing movie of all time, the original Star Wars, that everybody loved, you don't mess with it. But it's George's baby, and he can do whatever he wants. I don't agree. I did not enjoy the additions that they did in 1977 special release edition, whatever it's called. The prequels did not satisfy me. They seemed plastic, forced and phony, like a stuffy English tea party, if you will. You look at the original 2 Star Wars movies, A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, and what makes those movies so incredibly special is 75% of those movies are just the characters hanging out. They're not doing anything. They're just sitting around getting to know each other, talking about the Force, talking about why they can't leave Tatooine, talking about how fast this ship is, and you fall in love with the characters because you feel like you're there, getting to know them. And then the other 25% of the movie, when the action is happening, the battles, the spaceships, the Death Star hallways, you're right there with them because you had a chance to grow with them. In all these other new movies, the prequels and the Disney ones, it's the opposite. It's 75% rushed action and only 25% of the characters getting to know each other. And I don't think that ratio works very well. So they didn't capture the magic they had with those first 2 movies.
What is your least favorite movie ever?
Any movie with Jennifer Garner. Next question, please.
You've been to numerous U.S. states and Canadian provinces. Has there been any famous persons that include actors/actresses, directors, and musicians that you have met?
I met Jack Black once.
Oh, really?
And he was short, but very nice. I met Natalie Portman once. Should have married her. But in the 10 seconds I got to spend talking with her, I didn't get the courage to ask. Other than those 2 A-list actors, I was very fortunate to meet almost every actor in all of the Star Wars movies, except Harrison Ford. I got to meet the late Carrie Fisher. I got to meet Mark Hamill. I actually got to spend quite a bit of time with Mark Hamill. Peter Mayhew, you know who he is?
Your main, well,
7 foot 2 inch tall Chewbacca.
Yeah, Chewbacca.
I got to actually go to a party on top of a penthouse in downtown San Diego, and it was just Peter Mayhew and I sitting in a corner table. And you know who I felt like?
Han Solo.
Han Solo, yeah.
What about musicians? Are there any you met?
No. Musicians, you're saying?
Yeah.
No, but if I could meet any musician, I would probably, well, it's too late to meet Elvis. I'd probably want to meet John Mayer. I like his songs. I like his music.
You obviously have kids of your own. What do they think of you being an actor and all?
Of course, they love it. They're kids. Kids love to be told stories. And as adults, we don't have anybody to sit us down at the foot of the bed at night and read us bedtime stories. So what do? We go to the movie theaters. Mm-hmm. And that's where we hear our stories. We're told stories in the movie theaters. Kids naturally love that. And to see that their daddy is involved in films and likes to act and likes to write stories, they're knee deep in it.
You're obviously a teacher with subject is special education. Why do you choose that as your main job besides acting?
Well, when I went down to job service, the applications for NFL quarterback or Major League Baseball cleanup hitter or Hollywood actor were all gone. So the only other job that I looked at that I thought would be interesting was school teacher. I chose school teaching because, again, I'm a big kid. And to be surrounded by the energy that young children have, it energizes you. So when I go to work, I'm surrounded by this wonderful energy, and I get to teach and instruct and mold these kids in a creative way. I look forward to coming to school every day to see you, Kyle. You know, see all the other kids. You guys were fun to be around, and that's why I chose to be a teacher, because children are our future, and children are wonderful and fun to be around.
Have you been to anywhere else besides North America? If so, where?
I have been. I've been to Europe. That was in 1999. I spent the summer there. You know what I got to go there for?
Han Solo?
I got to be Han Solo. FAO Swartz Toy Company, which in Europe is called Franz Karl Weber, they were doing a travel team for all the toy store openings and all the movie premieres, and they wanted actors to dress up as the characters. So I got to go to Europe for absolutely free and be part of this wonderful team. We went to 4 different countries. We saw the movie in 4 different languages. We got to go to these different toy stores and be there when the kids rushed in to get the new toys. So I went to Europe for that. And I also got the chance to go to Canada to be in a fan film. And I've been in a few fan films as Han Solo, which is always fun for me because he's my hero. One of the ones that got the most publicity was called Black Star Warrior. And in this movie, I got to play alongside Lando Calrissian. And you can see this video on YouTube.
Is there any plan in your future life that have to do with the film business?
Absolutely there is. Again, I'm the father of 3 children, and my children love movies and they love to act. And we have already made a couple movies. We call them The Pretenders. And we're in the middle of making our 3rd movie, which will be the end of the trilogy. We make these movies, we have a premiere at a real movie theater, which is the Putnam IMAX movie theater. The kids get to dress up. We have a limousine bring them in, a red carpet. They walk in. They get to pretend that they're movie stars for a day. And these movies, The Pretenders, are an adaptation of The Avengers. We have all the little kids as different superheroes. You know, Captain America, Black Widow, the Hulk, and all the other ones. In the first movie that we made, we had 5 children. In the second movie, we had 14. In this movie that we're currently working on right now, there are 21 children involved. And it should end up being about an hour and 45 minutes, maybe close to 2-hour movie. So we're excited about that. The kids are excited about it. They love it. You know how special it is for little kids to look up on a big screen and see their faces up there? It's like a dream come true.
Yeah. What do you think of me, and what is your favorite memory of me?
My favorite memory of you, Kyle Swanson, a.k.a. Cooley Hooper. Well, first of all, do you know where the Cooley comes from?
I remember it came from a guy from
That's
Street
right. As a kid, I played Street Fighter a lot, and one of the people couldn't pronounce the name Guile. He called him Guley, and we thought that was funny, so we called him Guley. Guile rhymes with Kyle, and Guley rhymes with Cooley. Yeah. So you, my friend, are Cooley Hooper. My favorite memory of you was that you wore this Deadpool hoodie all the time. And there was a line from Deadpool where somebody says, "Why do you always wear red?" And Deadpool looks at him and says, "So the bad guys can't see me bleed." Now, let's hope that these bad guys are wearing their brown pants. Class of 1990. So remember, The Pretenders, Bones to Bones, in theaters, hopefully in 2019.